These are a couple fittings that I just got in the mail from discounthydraulichose.com. So a long time ago, I'd started making a video on some mods that I was going to do to my mini excavator that I never ended up doing. So I kind of wanted to make a video to elaborate on that. Where I left off in the video was unboxing a small shipment I got from discounthydraulichose.com. I'm not affiliated with them. I'm not saying I do or don't recommend them. I'm just saying that's who I went through. But there's a few, I think, pretty decent size, online hydraulic companies, and I just happened to go through them. No particular reason. But anyway, I'd unboxed a small shipment of the fittings that are on all of these adjustable valves right now. So I did have a video talking about most of the stuff that's in this drawer. My crow's foot, my DIN fittings, and just some other metric stuff. And I think in that video I also showed my new pressure valve, which now has fittings on it that I ordered. So I don't think they were on there in the last mini excavator parts video that I had. But anyway, so I got 3 of these Summit Hydraulics adjustable pressure valves, and I got 3 of them, and they all have female 3/8 on each side. NPT, I mean 3/8 NPT. And I kind of screwed up ordering these because I could have done quarter or 3/8 or half, and I don't know why I did 3/8. I just did. I mean, I thought a bigger hole would be better. The problem with these adjustable valves is if you have a huge restriction in your hydraulic system, it heats your hydraulic fluid up fast. So I just thought doing 3/8 instead of a quarter, would make better flow. I don't know. I'm not a hydraulics expert, but to my surprise, and these adjustable pressure valves are expensive. I know I have a receipt for these somewhere. I think they're like 39 or 49 bucks a piece. So these 3 were like $150 in shipping and taxes or whatever, and just the valves. And then I had the task of trying to find the fittings that I needed to install these on my mini excavator. So my plan was to do 1 for my boom, 1 for my dipper, and 1 for my thumb. The bucket tilt or the in and out or whatever you call that is fine. I have no problems with that. But my the boom, the dipper, and the hydraulic thumb are nuts. So that's why I bought these. I bought 3 of them, and then one of these, I don't know which one, M14, M14, M14. Huh, they're all the same. I have a fitting somewhere. Maybe not. Maybe these are all the same, but I had a schematic that I drew up by hand, just something in my own mind. And these are kind of like the parts that I came up with, and I had to order each one of these fittings to have a male 3/8 NPT threads on it. But it goes from DIN into NPT through this valve, from NPT back to DIN again. So I know that sounds weird, but it is weird. But anyway, on these, if you notice here, I have double-sided NPT male threading on each end of this fitting, and then another one with the female, and then a male DIN threading on the side. And you're probably thinking, you're an idiot. You could have just done 1 fitting there. I know that. But every single hydraulics website you go to, and I think this is a conspiracy, straight up. Every fitting, this fitting right here that would go from 3/8 NPT directly to male DIN, M14 right here. Those fittings by themselves were super expensive on every website that I went to. And just that one. Like none of the other ones. Like all the other DIN to NPT fittings, no problem. It's all fine and dandy. But this 3/8 NPT male to M14 DIN male was like 40, 60 bucks, depending on the website for that one fitting. And I'm not paying that because I already spent 150 bucks on these valves. Trying not to spend too much on this, otherwise it's not going to be worth all the updates. I might as well just have gotten a used, Kubota or Bobcat or something. So I'm trying not to spend a lot, but I wasn't going to pay all that for you know, that one fitting. So I made my own, and doing the double 3/8 NPT male threading into the female threading and then over to the male din, this was much cheaper. So that's why I did that, and that's why there's more fittings. I know the less fittings you have, the better. I totally understand that. I've always done everything when it comes to piping or lines or anything. The least amount of fittings, the better. Less places for a leak. Same thing with electrical wiring. The less times you splice your electrical wire, that's that many less junctions or whatever, connectors or you know, whatever, to fail, to break loose or to not be tight enough or whatever. So, but I had to do that to try to save a little bit of money. As you can see, I have not installed these yet, and that's for a few reasons. But the number one reason is that not long after I bought all this stuff, I was watching videos about these, and people were talking about how when you restrict the flow of hydraulic fluid, it heats up your fluid way faster than if you don't use one of these. My hydraulic fluid already gets extremely hot anyway, so I didn't want to restrict it anymore. But I do plan on getting a hydraulic cooler and a hydraulic filter kit, but I won't buy it yet because I won't put another penny into my mini excavator until I get my cushion valve installed. If you don't know what that is, now, like I said, I'm not a hydraulics guy, but there's a channel out there called The Garage Connection. The dude's name is Cam. He's super smart. I mean, extremely smart when it comes to not just hydraulics in general, but Chinese mini excavators, stand-on skid steers, little loader things, whatever. Pretty much every product that, you know, these weird Chinese companies are manufacturing and are really popular in the United States, let alone, you know, North America. He knows a ton about all that stuff, and so he's just a great resource. He's the one that he had a video talking about these cushion valves, and that's how I found out about this. This cushion valve basically, on these Chinese mini excavators, when you're swinging, you can call it a swing motor, slew motor, whatever you want. When you're swinging, as soon as you let off of the joystick that stops you from swinging, your excavator slams stopped. And that's a flaw with these mini excavators from China. The problem with that is as soon as that hydraulic valve shuts, and basically you kind of become fluid locked with your hydraulics. So it abruptly stops you, and that's extremely, all that pressure goes through the hose back to the swing motor. You know, it's just kind of like a chain reaction, and it can break your swing motor by stopping abruptly. What this does is it allows you set these two connections here to a certain pressure, and when you let off your joystick, instead of immediately closing your hydraulic system, it allows a certain amount of pressure to flow freely, like in a circle through the system until it no longer is required, because it's not under, you know, when you stop your boom all of a sudden or you quit rotating, it allows that pressure to kind of like rotate for a while until you're good. You're stopped, your swing motor's not moving, and that saves your swing motor, and it kind of makes it easier to run, you know, and anyone who has one of these knows they're not easy to be smooth with. But anyway, so if you break a swing motor, whether it's the gear on it or the motor, these motors can split in half. There's pictures of it. It's crazy. And if you do that and you have to order a swing motor, you're gonna have a heck of a time, because if you even find one for sale, they're expensive. You gotta wait for them to ship from China, or they're not in stock. And then when you get it, you have to install it, which anyone, you know there's a million hoses and fittings and crap. It's probably not an easy thing to swap out. At least on mine, it doesn't look that easy. I don't know, but I don't want to have to even touch it. So that's why I want cushion valve. Now, Cam from the Garage Connection had cushion valve kits with this cushion valve, and it came with 4 hoses that had fittings already on it in a kit. It was like 250 bucks. He's been out of stock forever. The guy's, you know, he's a busy dude. He has other stuff going on, but he hasn't had this kit in stock for a long time. So then he's like, he was nice enough to give everybody the part number for this cushion valve. And then he made like a hose kit you could buy that was only like 150 bucks, I think, or something like that, which to me is totally worth it, because I know from looking on the internet that buying all these fittings yourself and the hose and then, you know, putting everything together, that's a lot of work and that's a lot of money in Chinese fittings. And, you know, if you're a patient person who can buy in bulk and wait for a pallet to get delivered from China, you can save a lot on fittings doing it that way. But if you're like me and you want it, you know, this decade, then you have to order it from an American hydraulic company online, but then they're going to charge you an arm and a leg because, you know, that's the price of convenience. And it's like they know exactly what fittings all these mini excavator guys need, and they're capitalizing on that. So, you know, I get it, but it also sucks. But anyway, so I kind of still have to come up with my own cushion valve thing. But anyways, here's the number. This is a Summit cushion valve, part number DCRV45-06N. I can even put that in the description. These are about $100. I think I paid like 75, 80 bucks for this, which isn't bad. I got a good deal on it on Amazon, actually. Which I think Summit Hydraulics is a pretty good company. So I got that, but I don't have the hoses. I need to either make them or wait for Cam to start selling them again, so I don't know what I'm doing. But that's why I'm halting everything right now with my mini excavator. I will not put these valves on until I have a hydraulic cooler. I will not buy a hydraulic cooler until I have my cushion valve installed. And I can't install my cushion valve until I get the hoses with the right fittings on them, which I don't even know what fittings they need. And I haven't watched his installation video for a while, so right now, off the top of my head, I don't even know how to install it. So there's a lot that needs to be done here. So I'm halting my entire program, modifying my mini excavator until the cushion valve gets done. If you watch his video on the cushion valve thing and he adjusts it properly and shows you how to do that, by the way, and then he shows it, he lets off of the control stick on his mini excavator, and instead of slamming stopped, it just nicely and then stops. It's so nice compared to the way they do it now. But I haven't used my mini excavator for a few months now. It's January as of this video, so I bet you I probably last used it in maybe November, early November, late October. But I was using my mini excavator a lot. I don't know why I always use this stuff like right before winter and when I had all summer to dig with it, and I didn't dig barely anything until the fall. But I was getting really good at it. And I can put up on the screen right now, I mean, I have a ton of footage of digging different holes in different spots for different reasons. Hard ground, wet ground, gravel, debris. I moved logs. I mean, just all kinds of, I just used it a lot, and it didn't give me any problems. It ran really well, and I was getting really good with the controls. So good that I kind of got cocky at one point and thought, I really don't need these adjustable pressure valves now. I just want to get the cushion valve fixed and get a hydraulic cooler and hydraulic oil filter, and I really don't need these. I would, you know, be willing to sell them on eBay or whatever, because at this point, I feel like I don't need them. I guess I might want one of them, because even worse than the swing motor on these things is the hydraulic thumbs. At least on mine, wow. That thing is so fast. I mean, that auxiliary handle, you barely touch that thing and it either slams open or it slams all the way shut. So when I lift up debris or logs, you know, I use the thumb to clamp down on whatever it is, but when I get to the point where you need to let it go, instead of taking my hands off of the main controls of the excavator to touch the auxiliary lever to, you know, take pressure off of the thumb, I just open my bucket a little bit, and then that releases whatever is held in. And then you do have to take your left hand, and then you do have to shut your thumb, and it's a pain. It's fast. Another thing about that is ever since I put that hydraulic thumb on, I introduced air into my system somewhere, so I need to bleed it out. I haven't done it yet because I'm a procrastinator, but my thumb, as I use it, it like slowly falls down off of the dipper, and it drives me nuts because every few minutes you have to hit the auxiliary lever to get it to shut again, because it's always in the way. I would like to get another mini excavator. That's going to be a later video, later discussion. Just an FYI, I'm hoping to get an LH12 or an LH12R from AGT. Here's a few pictures of it. But I really don't like having the hydraulic thumb on there because of that thumb falling down, which if I fixed it, it wouldn't be a big deal. But I almost would like to have like one for digging and then one for like everything else. I can use my log grapple on it, my hydraulic thumb on it, my ripper, my rake, my sifting buckets, all my weird crap. Use that on one and then have one specifically for digging. And I have a counterweight issue with mine. There's no weight on the back. And the LH12R has something there. It's a lot heavier, and they come stock with hydraulic coolers. I don't know about a hydraulic filter. Anyway, that's not what this video is about. At some point, yeah, where was I at here? I already forgot what the hell I was talking about. Oh yeah, so anyways, as far as the hydraulics go, I'd love to have swing motor and the thumb sorted out, and then have the whole system be cooling properly and filtering crap out of the fluid properly. So aside from the cushion valve and these adjustable valves, which I know you probably can't see it, but everything in here has like condensation on it. I don't know why our humidity is so high. It's been cold out lately. My toolbox sweats so bad, and I'm so sick of all my tools and stuff having water on it. But anyway, so these fittings here I got on Amazon. This was a 5-piece 3/8 by 3/8 hex nipple set, hydraulic grade. Which you got to be careful with this stuff when you're ordering these, because people think they're getting the deal of a lifetime only to be ordering pneumatic fittings that are made out of brass. You cannot use that on a mini excavator, on any high pressure hydraulic system. You really shouldn't use any air fittings for anything other than air. So watch out for that. These are stainless steel, high pressure. I forget what the pressure rating was, but 5 of these nipples were only like $5 plus shipping. So that was a good deal. I saved a lot of money buying on Amazon over buying those same nipples from Discount Hydraulic Hose. No offense to them. And I do try to buy most of this stuff off of eBay and Amazon, and it's hit and miss sometimes. eBay, you can find very good deals sometimes if people sell fittings and they don't know that the excavator guys are trying to get them. So you can actually get a good deal on some things. But this here, I had in my other video on all my excavator tools and parts, but at the time it didn't have the fittings on. I had to do the same thing with this. This is a 5,000 PSI gauge, by the way, and I bought the cheapest gauge you could get, and I don't know if that's going to be a mistake or not. But I also need to adjust my main pressure valve on my machine, and in order to do that, you have to have a pressure gauge that you know how to use, and it reads accurately enough that you can adjust your main pressure valve. If it's set too low, which happens, and then you also need to know what your max is. So if you're set too low and you have room to turn it up to the max, you can get more power out of your machine, but you have to have one of these. But anyway, so I don't know where I went wrong. The whole hydraulic fitting thing just confuses me sometimes based on like inside measurements, outside measurements, NPT, DIN, I don't know, they have like a British something something, and they have like JIC. I'm not good with all that stuff, but I screwed up and ended up having to get this adapter for this gauge. It was the same deal with these fittings as it was with these adjustable hydraulic pressure valves. It was cheaper for me to get this reducer and then put this huge fitting on that went, I don't know if this is a double DIN. This might be a double DIN. No, this is NPT. This big fitting here is a NPT female to DIN male. So, but anyway, so now I have these two fittings on here, which none of this stuff is tight, none of it's taped, none of it, it's just on there so I don't lose it. But I don't know if you're even supposed to use tape on this stuff. It's something I should probably look up. I think I used it when I did my hydraulic thumb. But anyway, same thing here, except this one is an M16. That was what confused me earlier, talking about these adjustable pressure valves. These are all M14, which I have the schematic somewhere on a piece of paper. It'll only make sense or only sound right if I can actually do it and show it. So don't berate me about having any wrong fittings. I know this will work. I tested everything because I spent $80 on this AKM 80-piece DIN light duty cap and plug assortment. So I double checked everything, so I know what the DIN fittings are. So this M16 fitting actually I'll unplug one of the hoses for my hydraulic thumb and then fasten that to this gauge, and so then you can use your auxiliary hydraulic lever to test these, and it's a lot safer than taking, you know, a hose off of your boom or your dipper, because if you're not doing that right and you got your boom up in the air and then you undo the hose and all that pressure gets released, it'll drop like a sack of potatoes if you're underneath of it, or, you know, your cat is hanging out underneath the bucket. When you do that, you're gonna kill Fluffy. So gotta be super careful with that. So everyone pretty much recommends using the auxiliary line. So that's why I got an M16 here, because on my AGT QH12R, the big hoses on the boom and the dipper are M16, but then when you get to the hydraulic thumb, it's M14. So when I got my thumb, it had to come with two fittings that go from M16 to M14. And my first thumb that I ever got didn't come with that, and it was the wrong thumb anyway. But so that's something you got to think about with those hydraulic thumbs. But anyway, this should, once it's doped up or taped up or whatever and good to go, and I'm working on my machine again, then I can do that to check the main pressure valve. So sorry I'm jabbing a lot. This really isn't a super necessary video, but I'm new to this stuff. I'm not a pro at anything on my channel, let alone hydraulics and mini excavators from China. So anything I learn or find out or troubleshoot or whatever, I try to share that with other people, you know, trying to help people out. I learn all the time from people that actually know what they're talking about, like Cam. Dude's a genius with this stuff, and he makes it look easy. That's the problem. So then I spend all this money on crap and tools and parts and fittings, and then, you know, I haven't really had the chance to try anything yet, but I have a feeling I'm gonna have a hard time with it. Yeah, I'm just trying to be helpful to anybody. So that is pretty much it. This is kind of my mini excavator drawer here. So I have like my metric DIN bolt thingy here for male and female, testing all that, both in SAE and metric. I've got my crow's feet things, which I've seen them before, but I didn't really think much about them until Cam used one in his videos to undo hydraulic hoses that were hard to reach with your hands. And he used these in like a really long extension. He used a really long extension for like a ratchet. That's probably a little bit too long, but that would probably work. And then you use the crow's feet to crack your hydraulic lines loose, and then if you're talented, you can just repeatedly undo the fitting until your hydraulic line lets loose. See what I mean? All this condensation on everything. Oh, that drives me nuts. So yeah, and then I got this DIN light duty cap and plug assortment. It was like 80, 90 bucks, somewhere in there. I can't remember, but this thing's awesome. Gotta have one. And I'm glad I bought it, because if you don't trust yourself with knowing for sure what size fittings are, then you can just refer to this. It goes from 12 DIN all the way up to 36, but the most common ones are the 12 DIN, 14 DIN, and possibly 16 DIN, and then maybe a few bigger ones on some of the bigger components on your mini excavator, but I haven't really had to deal with that yet. So you can also, you know, measure thread pitch with a caliper like this, but I don't do that because I got the plug and cap kit, so I don't have to worry about me measuring thread pitch, which in this case is usually 1.5, you know, like M14 by 1.5 DIN, whatever. And make sure your DIN stuff is light. Do not get DIN heavy, get DIN light when you're ordering fittings, if you order fittings. Then I also got this Icon Allen wrench set, which, you know, I spent a ton of money. I don't know if I mentioned this in one of my other videos, but I spent a whole bunch of money buying these Allen hex attachments for my ratchets and impacts and everything, and I'm trying to, sometimes your swing motor slash slew motor can have loose bolts, and you got to tighten those. I've read a lot of different people had loose swing motors, and that can cause issues on its own. And I got all these to tighten that, and then these don't even fit because my motor like sticks out too far. And so all these, you know, different size, which I needed them anyways, it's nice to have them. But all those, when all I really needed was this. Sure miss operating that thing. Absolutely, positively, one of the coolest things I've ever bought in my life was that AGT QH12R. I do wish I would have gotten the LH12. I like that one way more for many reasons, and maybe I'll have a video on that in the future. But I know a guy who sells, he's a dealer, and he sells this equipment, and he provided the pictures I put in this video of the LH12. And I should have bought that. I should have got that right from the get-go, but I didn't know anything. So ended up with the QH12R instead. But if you have any questions about anything, pricing, resources, information, links, websites, whatever, just let me know in the comments. And like always, thank you for watching, and please subscribe.